Kevin Owens did a pile driver in 2024 in WWE. And they made it seem like it was Memphis in the 70s and 80s. They made a pile driver matter. And I saw people go out there and go, oh, there's destroyers and all that stuff all the time. Not in WWE, there's not. The most holy shit thing as related to a head spot like that. There's been some brain busters here and there. But Sammy pulling out the top rope brain buster to Gunther at WrestleMania was a real sign of, okay, there's trust in the wrestlers to do the big stuff when they need it. And when did he pull that out? For the first time in WWE, when did Sammy pull that out? At WrestleMania to beat a guy who was undefeated. He hit a brain buster on the top rope in the biggest moment possible, pretty much. And then it mattered. Why? He got the win off of it. When Blood came back at the beginning of this year, okay, there's trust in the wrestlers to handle what the elements of wrestling bring about. A pile driver being sold the way it was by Randy, by the officials, by commentary, by the other wrestlers. They made it dangerous. It's about how dangerous the move is sold, not how dangerous it is. Paul Heyman once said, and I think this was him, you can get a bear hug over in a few months if you do it the right way. They used to take those shots of Great Khali and his massive hands, and I can do this because I have big hands, just like crashing right in the stir, like you just see people's face, and then he would move them around so it looked like the jaws and the eye sockets and the skull are getting crushed. If you're listening on podcasts, I'm crushing my own face with my hands. It looked brutal because they would zoom in and you'd see crush the actual Hawaiian Kona, whatever. When he did it, the cranium crush. Giant, muscular guy crushing a jobber, smaller guys. It looked brutal. They're not doing anything. They're just moving. Like, this is me keeping still. But if I move my hands a little closer together, it looks like I'm getting crushed this way. The heart punch. The Von Erich, Baron Von Raschke, the claw. It's all about the selling of it. So when you do a move that hasn't been used, if I am correct, since February of 2012? Or would this be leading into 29? 2013? Yeah. When Punk hit the pile driver on Cena. Called it on the fly. Illegal. Got fined for it. Listen to Cole and Lawler sell it. And listen to the crowd go nuts for it. Because it wasn't done. Kevin hitting a pile driver. A straight pile driver. And selling it like they did made it dangerous. Perception. And now Kevin has been pushed to that. And if you know Kevin's history a little bit more, the package pile driver, a much more safer version of the pile driver. Hooks it up, brings you all together, almost like a pedigree, jumps and brings you down. He basically just kind of folds you all up. And Kevin has never hit that in WWE. He's hit variations where the move starts the same way or whatever. He's turned it into a neck breaker, but he's never hit the finish. And I truly believe he's been sitting on that intentionally. And then he hit a straight up pile driver, which admittedly looked better and was easier for everybody to sell as dangerous because Randy's a big, tall, muscular dude and he's getting dropped on his head. They added juice in a big way. Great execution. Would love to see more of it. Very old school. And it worked. Now, I was asked about the United States Championship for the women, which Nick Aldis revered last week. I had thought there might be a secondary title being introduced when the Crown Jewel Championships were introduced. Not the case. But they introduced the Women's United States Championship. They did not introduce the Women's Intercontinental Championship, and I hope they don't. I saw a decent amount of excitement for it. I saw people like Chelsea Green and Meechin and Piper Niven all talking about it, and those feel like the right kind of names to be involved for it. I saw Bayley bring it up. Bayley's won everything in WWE. I would have my doubts, and I'll tell you why I have my doubts. And I know they said the Raw and SmackDown women can compete for it, so they're making that the secondary title. That's secondary women's title. Once again, another great example of why there should only be one world championship in the company. I don't like right there. They saw Raw and women can compete for it, so I guess no need for women's IC. So why is there a singular secondary title for the women, but two top championships? That hierarchy doesn't make sense. You want to have two secondary championships and one top title. That makes sense. And I don't, believe me, I'm not asking for a women's IC title. The last thing they need is another women's title, because look at how they just booked the women's War Games match. They slapped it together. Thrown together. But I'm supposed to have faith in them booking in a secondary women's championship. No, I'm not excited about it. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's a great, glaring example of why women's wrestling is still not presented in the way it should be across the board, because you're saying basically that we need to introduce another championship for the women to feud over, as opposed to just booking feuds that don't have championships involved for the women. Hey, this is Matt Camp. Thanks for checking out one of our recent clips from the Wrestling Mat. Why is someone so close to The Rock kind of throwing Cody under the bus?
Yeah, a lot of people won't engage with Jim Cornette. I did, just because I have a mark for Jim Cornette.
Please subscribe right now. Hit the like and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. And I think you should listen to your TV partners. Let me tell you about WWE and a little insight. More subscribers means more content. And make sure you follow us on social media at WrestlingMat23 on both Twitter and Instagram.